Well, the secret is that it's sometimes easier for women to work in places that are male-dominated, because when men don't get access to their own women, they're often quite excited to have access to a foreign woman. And we're sort of like a third gender, actually, because we come in behaving differently with a different set of behaviors and styles and approaches. So foreign women, I find myself often in places where I can actually get around quite easily, and I'm less threatening than a man. Of course, there are some cultures that take it to extremes, and really women are barred from certain activities and areas of society. But for the most part, I found it to be an advantage to be a woman working in this field. I mean, women are in as much danger, I think, as men covering conflict. They're, maybe people abuse us in slightly different ways, but we're equally open to abuse. I don't feel like because I'm a woman, I'm any more vulnerable than my male colleagues, frankly. I mean, we don't often go around the streets alone, either male nor female, in foreign places. We're often accompanied by colleagues or translators or fixers. When it's a dodgy situation, any journalist shouldn't be completely alone. So long as you have companions, I think you're a little bit safer. So other than being groped on the streets, which is something women have to deal with more than men in most places, which is usually, is not incredibly violent, and things have been okay. I try to call it out whenever I can if men are sort of being inappropriate or abusive. And I've never been really terribly abused on the streets. It's mostly teenage kids at a funeral in Gaza or something who feel like they can, cop a cheap feel off of a foreign photographer because their hands are busy doing something else and they think they won't get caught. But I try to call them out whenever I can, particularly if it's kids, because I think they need to learn a lesson.
Yeah,
so, if I'm the best solution, I think, is to grab a kid's hand and hold it up in the air and be like, "Yo, would you do this? Do you want someone treating your sister this way?" And usually, because they're doing something, they're terribly embarrassed. They know, even if people around don't know what's happening, they know why they've been called out, and it's a good way to shame. Shame works very effectively. And then, men around will come and say, "What's happening?" And sometimes people will come to your aid, and depends on the situation. Everyone's different. If people this is adults trying to be violent towards you, it's a very different situation. But I find most of the time it's just fairly innocent, inappropriate behavior that you can kind of stop.
Mm-hmm.